My name is Savannah. I'm a student cultural studies in Amsterdam at the university. And last year I got involved during the tent camp, when they were in the tent camp, at the protest from We Are Here. After that, Elke and I were both volunteers in the Vluchtkerk. And we spent a lot of hours there organizing events, working on media attention, and to make sure all the basic facilities were there in the building. And also we spent hours and hours of talking with the refugees, and we started to know, starting to get a little bit of what their problem was, because it's really hard to understand what it is to be undeportable or out of procedure, and what it is to be an undocumented migrant. But from this experience, we made a plan to start up a foundation. We found out that there are many organizations in the Netherlands working with refugees, for example, on juridical issues or on mental problems of refugees. But there is actually no organization in the Netherlands who helps the refugees raise their voice and to help them protest or find ways together to protest. So we started up the foundation, and the name of the foundation is Here to Support. Our main goal is to set up a center for undocumented migrants, from where they can work on proposals, workshop and cultural programs. We want to create visibility for undocumented migrants, and in this way influence the public opinion. In the center, we work together with undocumented migrants on an equal base. So we work together on proposals and projects and cultural programs. Our goal is to work on empowerment of the undocumented migrants by giving them the possibility to reflect, create and produce. And providing them with all the means they need. For example, right now, the group has no computers, has no internet, has no telephones that have actually credit on it. So it's really hard to protest if you don't have the means to do it. So they actually all the time need us to call politicians or to type out speeches or to write proposals. And we want to equalize this indifference. We want to give them the means to protest. For example, we worked a lot with Osman, and he wrote his first article, a one-page article in the NRC 2 months ago, and that's something that half a year ago we would have done, but now we give him a chance to, by working with him and to spend time with him, to really write that article himself. And we also want to provide them with a network, because if you don't have a network in the Netherlands, it's really hard to find people that help you and find the right people that can give you information. So that's also one of our goals. And we want to feed the discussion in the Netherlands by educate and by coming up with new proposals.
So, well, we have already a little bit explained the situation right now. And what has been happening this last year all the time is that we go from crisis to crisis, from emergency to emergency. And it's really hard to think in a long term about solutions that can, you know, like create more space to actually create some inclusivity, or at least to an extent that is much better for them and for us. So we would like, therefore, to use the New World Academy, the invitation of the New World Academy, to think about a long-term proposal, because we cannot, like, politics is working really slowly. So, like, if we come up now with a real good proposal, it will not, we will not be able to implement it on Tuesday. But on Tuesday, there is an emergency, but at the same time, because of all these constant emergencies, there are a lot of lobbying going on behind the scenes. And we know, for example, that the woman who's going to hand over proposal to the municipality of Amsterdam will be in the debate in the Bali. She will be one of the speakers. And we hope that she will be eventually, you know, use our proposal that we hopefully are going to create together this weekend to actually use as an inspiration for her proposal. And, you know, maybe some of it will be, or maybe even whole of it will be reflected in a future shelter for undocumented migrants. We have been sitting together for a whole weekend in Friesland to think about what would be an ideal shelter, what would be an ideal situation for undocumented migrants, to kind of create a perspective, you know, and to create a livable situation. Well, one thing is that they come here and they are immediately isolated from society. And due to their protest, they have been more integrated, but it's not an integration that you want to strive for because it's a constant crisis situation. So the integration is also very conflictuous between the volunteers and the members of We Are Here. So what we propose is to create a shelter in a building where the members, in this example of We Are Here, can live together with a group of cultural producers, and cultural producers in a wide sense that can be like artists, art students, but it could also be academics. It could be people that, you know, like that are able to, yeah, to create, let's say. And we would like to, what is the interesting thing about this proposal, I think, is that it is a way to not longer be excluded from society, but you are like actually living together. You have to create a way of being together, to exchange information and so on. And this is something that Thomas called integration, and suddenly I found it an attractive word, which I never had before. So it's so that's one thing why we came up with this idea. And then there was also the legally seen, it's an interesting exercise to think about, because within a dweller initiative, or like a initiative that's taking place in one building, you can actually produce and create an economy. And
the building they live in.
So yeah. So if people without documents live in a building and produce things in this building, this can actually be sold or being exchanged for a donation. And this is legally acceptable because it's in their own house. So this is like a loophole in the law that creates many possibilities. It creates a possibility to make a home, so shelter, and create work at the same time, create integration, and create a meaningful existence for hopefully both groups. So we are going to explain this proposal to the 10 points. I think you got already emailed, but we want to go a little bit deeper in it.
So the We Are Here Corporation proposes to bring together 200 members of We Are Here and 200 artists in a shared building in Amsterdam for a period of 1 year. 2. We Are Here Corporation proposes that on every floor of this shared building, 10 members of We Are Here live together with 10 artists. 3. We Are Here Corporation proposes that the members of We Are Here are responsible for the technical maintenance of the building and that the artists in turn will be responsible for paying for the utilities. 4. We Are Here Corporation proposes that each floor will be represented by one We Are Here member and one artist who together will act as the floor coordinators. 5. We Are Here Corporation proposes strict but fair house rules with an absolute ban on smoking inside, drug use and violence. A core group of peacekeepers consisting of members of both groups of inhabitants will be present to take action when the rules are violated. In case of severe violations, the inhabitant in question will no longer be welcome to enter the building.
We Are Here Corporation proposes the realization of an action center on the ground floor of the building that will be responsible for the entire coordination and communication. 7. We Are Here Corporation proposes that We Are Here members and artists will each receive a private living or studio space in the corporation building. 8. We Are Here Corporation proposes the realization of a cultural center on the ground floor open to the public and run by members of both groups of inhabitants. The cultural center will have space for an open kitchen and music stage, language classes, and other publicly accessible cultural initiatives. 9. We Are Here Corporation proposes that the cultural center will be used for mutual cultural integration, a continuous and equal exchange between the many cultures in the city of Amsterdam. 10. We Are Here Corporation proposes that the group of 200 We Are Here members will not expand after the initiation of the We Are Here cooperative building. Instead, this model will be used for the realization of new We Are Here cooperative centers in the Netherlands. So I think this is what we wrote after our session in Friesland. And I think from the perspective right now, I would like to go to the points again, but then a little bit from the experience we have now. So because, for example, the first point says that it would bring 200 members of We Are Here and 200 artists together in a shared building in Amsterdam. So we imagined that. But then we were looking for buildings that could host 400 people. And there are not so many people and not so many buildings like that. And we also talked with people from the student housing corporation, and they said, well, if you really want to create an economically sustainable situation, you have to think of a different balance. They said, if you have 50 people, undocumented migrants, together with, for example, 150 cultural producers, then you can make it actually economically autonomously. And then, you have you have the argument towards the government, we don't cost any money, so please just leave us alone. And but that's an argument that is always being used, that they cost money. So then I think this is something that we should take into consideration. And besides that, we also thought that this proposal is now specifically written for We Are Here. But I think it's wise also to think about undocumented migrants in the Netherlands in general, because it's a huge group and there are many more people in this situation, and they all have a right to have shelter. And now We Are Here has come out and they made themselves visible, but that doesn't mean that the treatment of others should be not equally humane. So that's what we thought, maybe it would be better to to focus on a proposal that is a model more visionary for undocumented migrants in the Netherlands.